They were the internet's perfect boys. Ripped, famous, and packaged like every fan's safe fantasy. But behind the abs and smiles was a secret that could destroy careers, friendships, even their health. Tonight, we count down 10 golden boys who hid it for years, until one moment forced the truth into daylight. Some were praised, some were threatened, and some nearly broke. Watch to the end, because the final story hits the hardest. 1. Vinnie Hacker, the thirst trap who refused to explain himself. Before the rumors, there was the body, tattoos like a warning label, that straight TikTok heartthrob brand built on slow looks, gym lighting, and millions of people believing they had a shot. Vinnie didn't just go viral, he became a fantasy you could scroll, and fantasies come with a contract. Be hot, be available, be silent. For years, the comments did what the industry used to do behind closed doors. They labeled him for him. Say it, admit it, prove it. Every photo, every collab, every shirtless post got dissected like evidence in a courtroom. Not because people cared about truth, but because they felt entitled to it. The moment a guy is too pretty, the whispers turn into slurs. The moment he doesn't play along, the love turns into threats disguised as jokes. Here's the tragedy. Even when you're worshipped, you can still be trapped. If he ever questioned anything privately, the internet made sure he questioned it loudly. If he stayed quiet, they called it hiding. If he leaned into a queer gaze, they called it baiting. Either way, he couldn't win, because the real punishment wasn't cancellation. It was being treated like a product you can return if you don't like the label. Then, the mask cracked. A lap dance on a big tour went viral. A steamy magazine spread made timelines melt. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't, is he allowed to be queer? But why were we policing him in the first place? Some outlets started calling him bisexual. Others screamed, stop labeling him. And right there, in that war, is the silent fame question. Who's really in control of a golden boy, the boy, or the crowd? So ask yourself, should a man have to announce his label to earn respect? Or is the real courage refusing to perform for anyone, even the people who adore you? Drop your take in the comments. Is Vinnie reclaiming his story? Or is the internet still writing it for him? And if you want the next names on this list, hit subscribe. And if you've ever judged someone's sexuality from a photo, own it. Because this story isn't just about Vinnie. It's about the way we watch men like him and demand they bleed for our comfort. 2. Noah Schnapp, the innocent face, the loudest closet. The world met Noah as a kid, soft eyes, quiet voice, America's safe little star. But off camera, the real monster wasn't the upside down. It was the question people kept throwing at him like a dare. When you grow up famous, strangers don't just watch you, they feel entitled to you. Fans didn't only analyze Will Byers, they analyzed Noah. Every interview, every smile, every too gentle moment became fuel for a rumor mill that doesn't care how old you are. Imagine being a teenager and realizing millions of people are debating your sexuality like it's a plot twist they deserve. And he carried that silence for 18 years. Then, he did something almost brutal in its simplicity. A TikTok trend. 8 seconds, a lip sync, and words on the screen when he finally told friends and family he was gay after being scared in the closet for 18 years. They said, "We know." In one blink, he turned a lifetime of fear into a punchline, because sometimes humor is the only way to survive the shame. But don't get it twisted. That "we know" is sweet and heartbreaking. Sweet because he was loved. Heartbreaking because he suffered alone for no reason except a world that teaches boys to be afraid of themselves. The wild part? His character's story mirrored him. While Will's feelings were only hinted at on screen, Noah had to dodge questions and smile through it. His caption hit like a confession. I guess I'm more similar to Will than I thought. And the aftermath? Support poured in, and so did the hate. That's the cruel bargain of coming out online. You don't just come out to your family, you come out to everybody. And here's the part nobody talks about. Once you say it out loud, you can't take it back. Every future role, every friendship, every mistake gets filtered through that one word. People either crown you as an icon or target you as a headline. Noah didn't just come out. He stepped onto a battlefield with a smile. So be honest in the comments. Is "we know" love? Or proof the closet was built by everyone watching? If you want story number 3, it gets messier, hit subscribe. Would you have done it? 3. Khalid, the shy hitmaker who got dragged into the light. Khalid's brand was always soft, hoodie, sad boy melodies, that good kid aura that made everyone feel safe. He blew up young, got Grammy nominations, sold the heartbreak like it was holy, and still kept one thing locked behind the music. Not because he hated himself, because the world loves a golden boy most when he's undefined. For years, he tried to do the impossible. Be honest without being exposed. Close friends knew, family knew. But the public got a carefully edited version, enough truth to feel human, not enough to get hunted. That's the quiet torture of fame. You're praised for being real, while you're punished for being specific. Then came the worst kind of coming out. Not a choice, an ambush. In late 2024, after being outed online, Khalid posted the rainbow flag and basically said, "There y'all go, next topic." Then he got sharper. He wasn't ashamed, it just wasn't anybody's business. Imagine having your own story ripped out of your hands and turned into content for strangers. One day you're dropping music, the next day you're defending your existence. And still, he didn't break. He turned it into fuel. Afterward, he talked about how nasty it felt, how his story got stripped away, but also how freeing it became. He started leaning into desire instead of hiding it, even putting heat on screen. Steamy visuals, a male dancer, a pop star glow-up that screamed, "I'm done shrinking." That's not just a rebrand. That's survival with the volume turned up. And when the headlines moved on, he still had to live with the aftermath. The supportive fans, the ugly comments, the people who claimed they knew all along. He later called it a blessing in disguise, but the truth is, it stole his timing. That's the cost. You don't just come out, you rebuild. So here's the debate. Was the internet forcing honesty or committing violence with a smile? Should anyone ever be outed, even if the truth is beautiful? Drop your verdict in the comments and subscribe, because the next story on this list proves coming out isn't always a celebration. Sometimes it's a war. 4. Joshua Bassett, the Disney prince who walked into a storm on purpose. Joshua was built to be a safe crush. Soft curls, clean smile, the kind of boy Disney sells like comfort food. But behind that glossy poster boy image was a life where everyone kept trying to name him before he could name himself. Then came the moment that looked like a joke, until it didn't. He said Harry Styles was hot and tossed out, "I guess this is my coming out video." The internet exploded because people weren't hearing a compliment. They were hearing permission to interrogate. And Joshua later said the brutal part out loud. His whole life, people had been telling him what his sexuality was, like it belonged to them. But here's where the story gets darker, because his closet wasn't just Hollywood, it was heaven, faith, fear. The kind of religion that can make a young man feel like desire is a crime scene. And when footage surfaced of him being baptized at Bethel Church, an institution reported as linked to anti-LGBTQ conversion therapy culture, fans didn't just panic, they felt betrayed. Overnight, he went from queer-coded Disney prince to, is he being pulled into something dangerous? Joshua tried to yank the narrative back, saying he wasn't endorsing everything, distancing himself from what people assumed he'd signed up for. But the damage was already done. The comment sections turned into a battlefield, half screaming traitor, half begging please be okay, and the rest using him as proof for whatever agenda they already had. So tell me, does he deserve happiness if his path looks messy? Or do we only accept people when their story fits a neat, inspiring script? Drop your take below. Was Joshua searching for God or running from himself? And if you want their 5, the next guy didn't just come out. He got dragged into the light while building an empire. Subscribe so you don't miss it. 5. Sawyer Hemsley, the cookie king who got outed like a punchline. Sawyer Hemsley didn't become famous for dancing shirtless on TikTok. He became famous for building a sugar empire, Crumble, the brand that feels like a family-friendly fever dream. Clean image, big smiles, perfect American success story. And that's exactly why The Secret hurt more. Because when you're a golden boy CEO, the world expects you to be straight by default. The rumors didn't start as concern. They started as entertainment. Clips about his vibe went viral. Jokes got mean. Speculation got invasive. Then the line snapped. A former reality TV figure posted TikToks claiming private messages, basically outing Sawyer in front of millions, turning someone's identity into a public spectacle. One day later, Sawyer posted his own statement and came out as gay, because when people steal your truth, you either disappear or you take it back. He wrote about wanting to tell his story on his own terms and how the journey was complicated, especially with a Mormon background hanging over him like a shadow. Another creator later apologized after a viral joke was seen as outing, proving how fast a funny clip can become someone's trauma. Now imagine the pressure. Investors, customers, the internet, the politics people project onto you while you're just trying to breathe. Some people demanded accountability, others demanded silence, and the worst ones? They demanded a punishment. So here's the debate. Is outing ever just gossip, or is it violence with a laugh track? And do you think Sawyer deserved peace, or did the internet earn the right to know? Comment your verdict and subscribe, because it proves the entertainment machine has been policing too gay energy for years, even on live TV. 6. Matt Terry, the talent show winner, told he looked too gay. Matt Terry was the definition of a TV-made golden boy. That big voice, that boy next door face, the kind of winner producers can package as everyone's safe fantasy. The lights hit, the suit fits, the audience cheers. And somewhere in that roar, a young man learns the most dangerous lesson in show business. Don't give them a reason to stop loving you. Matt has said that during his X Factor era, there was pressure around how he came across. He later described being told from above that he looked too gay. Think about how sick that is. You're winning, but you're still being edited like a problem that needs fixing. Then the real tragedy, he fell for a man, and instead of getting to live it, he asked that man to hide with him. Not because the love wasn't real, but because fame makes fear feel logical. In 2024, Matt finally cracked the silence by releasing the song His Car, describing it as an apology to the first man he loved, the one he begged to keep their relationship secret. That's not a cute coming out story. That's grief. That's the cost of survival. You don't just hide yourself, you recruit the people you love into the hiding too. And when he came out, he didn't pretend it was glamorous. He admitted how hard it was, how exposed it feels, and how hate can follow. But he also said he's proud and not afraid anymore. So tell me in the comments, should we forgive a golden boy for the ways he hid, if hiding was the only way he knew to survive? And if you're still watching, subscribe, because the next names get even hotter, and the secrets get even uglier. 7. Yared Nuguse, the Olympian who hard-launched Love Like a Flex. Track fans already knew the image, the lean, pretty-faced killer who makes pain look elegant. The kind of golden boy whose body is basically a highlight reel, fast, controlled, untouchable. But the cleanest-looking men in sports often live with the dirtiest fear. If I tell the truth, do I lose the room? Because in elite athletics, masculinity is a currency. Sponsors want safe. Comment sections want normal. Teammates want you to never become the story. So even if you're happy, you learn to hide it. Keep your private life off camera, off the timeline, off the radar. Then Yared did the one thing closeted athletes are warned never to do. He made it real, and he made it public. In late March 2025, he posted, "Introducing my boyfriend, Julian, celebrating a one-year anniversary like it was no big deal, while knowing it would be a huge deal." And that's what made it so magnetic. He didn't beg for acceptance. He didn't apologize. He basically smiled and said, "Don't act surprised." But here's the drama nobody admits. Coming out isn't just being brave, it's deciding you're willing to be targeted. The same internet that calls you inspiring will also test how strong you are when the DMs turn ugly. Some people will cheer, others will call it a distraction. And the worst ones? They'll pretend they're protecting the sport, when they're really protecting their comfort. So let's argue in the comments. Is Yared a hero for refusing to hide? Or should athletes be allowed a private life without turning it into a headline? And be honest, if your favorite athlete came out tomorrow, would you still treat him the same? If you want this or 8, it gets emotional and way more cinematic. Subscribe, because the next golden boy didn't just fight a closet. He fought grief under stadium lights. 8. Colin Grafton, the Ice Prince who finally said the words out loud. Colin Grafton always looked like the type of man TV loves. Sharp jaw, model energy, that quiet, controlled intensity. Handsome in a way that feels expensive. On Dancing on Ice, the glitter and camera angles sell you a fantasy. Perfect posture, perfect smile, perfect partner. And that's exactly why he stayed careful. Because when you're a golden boy in a mainstream show, people don't just watch you skate, they speculate. Who are you dating? Are you straight? Are you allowed to be the romantic lead in their imagination? Colin admitted he'd already come out to people close to him years earlier, but going public felt like stepping into a box he didn't choose, worrying that if he said, "I'm gay," strangers would decide what that meant about his whole identity. In February 2024, he finally did it anyway, speaking publicly about being gay and calling it a long journey, not a cute announcement. The secret here isn't scandal, it's survival. How many years do you stay quiet just to avoid becoming a target? How many times do you let people guess, joke, and label you? Because saying it yourself feels like lighting a match near gasoline. And then the story turns tragic. Colin's most iconic TV partnership was with drag superstar The Vivienne, a duo that meant a lot to queer viewers. And after The Vivienne's death in January 2025, Colin publicly mourned his friend and skating partner. Imagine carrying that grief while still being a public figure people feel entitled to ship, judge, and dissect. That's the cost of visibility. You're asked to perform through pain. So here's the debate. Does Colin owe the public clarity? Or is the public the reason he stayed silent so long? And when someone finally comes out, do they deserve peace? Or do we just move the goalposts and demand more? Drop your take below and subscribe, because the next stories prove the golden boy archetype doesn't break gently, it shatters. 9. Jake Eldridge, the football body, the hidden life, the hospital bill. Jake looked like the kind of guy America automatically trusts. Clean cut, built like a highlight reel, the golden boy who can walk into a locker room and disappear into the crowd. At Rutgers, he was living the dream on paper, playing as a long snapper and getting real game time. But the secret wasn't a scandal, it was a slow poison. Jake later said the stress of being a closeted athlete for years wrecked him so badly that after his season he medically retired after being hospitalized with ulcerative colitis, which he believed was triggered by the pressure of faking his life every day to please everyone else. That's the tragedy people don't want to talk about. The closet doesn't just break your heart, it can break your body. And when he decided to come out publicly, even that wasn't simple. He recorded his coming out video over and over, 5 times, because he kept trying to sound proper, like he was delivering the version of himself people expect, not the one that was actually bleeding. Then he finally told himself, it's okay to cry. That detail, that's the real secret. Not who he loved, but how hard he fought to speak in his own voice. After he came out, the aftermath was a war of two worlds. Closeted athletes reached out to him because his honesty made them feel less alone. Yet, he refused to pressure anyone to come out before they were ready. Former teammates messaged support, and some even apologized for the homophobic jokes they'd thrown around while he was silently surviving them. He also admitted he used to delete posts about the things he actually loved: baking, fashion, travel, because he feared what people would say. Now he's done shrinking. So here's the comments section question. Did Jake quit too soon? Or did football quit him first? Does he deserve happiness even if it cost him the sport? Or is the world still punishing men for being more than one thing? 10. Mika Brunold, the tennis prince who chose truth mid-career. Mika Brunold is the kind of pretty athlete tennis was built to sell. Tall, sharp, camera-ready, the quiet confidence of a guy who spends countless hours sculpting body and mindset like it's part of the game. And in men's tennis, where the default assumption is still straight, being a golden boy can feel like wearing a costume you didn't pick. In late November 2025, while still active in climbing, Mika came out as gay in a heartfelt Instagram statement. At the time, he was around the ATP Top 300, reported as number 307, and only 21. He didn't romanticize it. He said it hasn't always been easy, and that he felt it was time to share who he is, because this isn't talked about enough in sports. He also said the quiet part out loud. In an ideal world, nobody would have to come out at all. That's where the drama lives. Not in gossip, but in the fear athletes carry when their career depends on being marketable. Every tournament is a new locker room. Every handshake is a new set of eyes. And the moment you stop being neutral, people decide you're political. Mika chose the scariest option: honesty before retirement when the stakes are highest. The response mattered too. Fellow pros and legends left support, and the tennis world showed him something rare: that truth doesn't have to end a career. Sometimes it frees it. And now we end on the real silent fame lesson. These golden boys weren't hiding because they were weak. They were hiding because the world punishes men for being human. So tell me below, should athletes ever have to announce who they are? Or should we stop assuming straight is the default? If this episode hit you, drop a comment with the name that broke your heart the most, and subscribe to Silent Fame. Because the next list goes even deeper, and the secrets get even louder. So here's the truth. None of these men owed the world a label, but they all deserved a life without fear. If their stories made you feel seen, you're not alone. Now I want your take. Were they brave? Or were they pushed into the spotlight by a cruel internet? Drop your hottest opinion in the comments. If you felt the emotion in this episode, hit like, subscribe, and stay with Silent Fame. More secrets, more truth, next time.